Last class we left our discussion at spherical aberration. So in last class we learned what is aberration and what are the two different types of aberrations that are possible. So there are basically two different types, monochromatic aberration and chromatic aberration. So in monochromatic aberration we have again 5 different types of aberration. In that the first is spherical aberration. So in our last class we learned what is spherical aberration by this diagram. So also we learned what are paraxial rays and what are marginal rays. So we called PQ as a marginal rays and ST as a paraxial rays. So what are marginal rays then? So the rays which are at a far distance from the principal axis are known as marginal rays. So if you see here, so the distance between P ray and the principal axis is larger compared to S ray. So this P and Q rays are known as marginal rays because these two rays have larger distance from the principal axis. Now S and T rays are known as paraxial rays because these two rays have less distance from the principal axis. So M and M prime is a principal axis. So from this principal axis S and T are not far as PQ are. So hence S and T rays are known as paraxial rays. Later we found that the rays or the paraxial rays forms the image at a different point or they converge at a different point in comparison to the marginal rays. So paraxial rays converge at a point FP. So FP here is the focus of paraxial rays. So it is denoted by F subscript P. Now this FP is for paraxial rays. Now there are again two rays which are known as marginal rays. So when these two marginal rays converge, they meet at a point FM. So FM is known as the focus of marginal rays. So here the two marginal rays meet. Now the distance from center of lens to the FM is known as FM and the distance from C to this point here is known as FP or the focus distance. So this is the basic thing which we have learned in our last class. So due to the two different focus points, the image formed will not be sharp, and now we extend these two rays such that these two rays intersect the paraxial rays at a point, and there the sharp or a focused image will be formed, and that image is known as A prime B prime. The defect in a lens due to variation of focal length for different portions of a wide aperture lens is called spherical aberration. So this overall picture is for the spherical aberration. So now variation in an image position. So if here you have FM and here you have FP. So there is a variation in the image position which is along the principal axis. So that variation is known as longitudinal spherical aberration. So what is longitudinal spherical aberration? So it is the variation of image position on the axis. So that is known as longitudinal spherical aberration. So clearly you can observe from the diagram there are two different focal points. So hence image position for the paraxial rays and the marginal rays is different. So that variation in image position along the axis is known as the longitudinal spherical aberration. So this difference between Fp minus Fm, or the difference between the focal length of paraxial rays. So this is the focal length of marginal rays and this is the focal length of paraxial rays. So the difference between Fp and Fm gives the measure of longitudinal spherical aberration. So the difference between Fp and Fm, the focal length of paraxial rays and marginal rays, is a measure of longitudinal spherical aberration. So this difference between Fp and Fm gives the measure of longitudinal spherical aberration. So now there are two different focal points, Fm and Fp. So there will be the variation in image size and that is known as lateral spherical aberration. So what is lateral spherical aberration? So the variation in image size. Due to spherical aberration is known as lateral spherical aberration. So hope this concept of spherical aberration is clear to you all. So what we have done, we have taken the four different rays. The first two rays or the PQ rays are known as marginal rays and ST rays are known as paraxial rays. So when these rays falls on a wide aperture convex lens, so these rays will meet at different points. So that is Fm and Fp. Fm is the focal point of a marginal rays and Fp is the focal point of the paraxial rays. So due to this, the bright image or a sharp image will not be formed. So to get where the image is formed, we actually extend the marginal rays, and when these rays intersect the paraxial rays, so there will be the formation of image A prime, B prime. So the defect which is formed due to this is known as a spherical aberration, and due to two different focal points that are present on the axis, there will be the longitudinal spherical aberration, and the difference from Fp to Fm will give the measure of longitudinal spherical aberration. So this is what the spherical aberration is. So now there are methods to minimize the spherical aberration. So we got to know, so when we take the wide aperture lens, so there will be the spherical aberration. So how to eliminate this? So there are again different methods to eliminate the spherical aberration. So let us understand one by one, or let us understand how to eliminate these spherical aberration. So the next concept here is methods of minimizing the spherical aberration. So basically there are 5 different methods to minimize the aberration that is caused due to the wide aperture convex lens. So in that, the first is, so we can eliminate these spherical aberration with the help of stops. So the first method here is spherical aberration is minimized by using stops has to allow either paraxial rays or the marginal rays, but this reduces the brightness of the image. So here what he is doing is he is cancelling either marginal rays or the paraxial rays just to have the single focal point on the axis. So let us see. So you have the wide aperture convex lens. So when you have this convex lens, you basically will have two different types of rays. The first ray is marginal ray and the second ray is paraxial ray. So now this M prime be the principal axis and this lens be AB. So this is the center of the lens, or the line which passes through the center is known as the axis of the lens. Now what you have to do is, so if you allow both the marginal rays and the paraxial rays, then you encounter the spherical aberration. So now if you allow only one kind of rays, then there will be no, or at least you will minimize the spherical aberration. So let us remove the marginal rays first. So you have the paraxial rays T and S, so which falls on the lens. These two rays will get refracted and forms the image at a point FP. So FP will be always far from the point C, or from the center of the lens, whereas FM will be near to the lens surface. So here I have drawn the FP. So these two rays, S and T rays, are known as paraxial rays. So now here again you will be sending the marginal rays. So in order not to send this marginal rays, you need to use the stoppers. So these are the stoppers. So these will not allow the marginal rays P and Q to pass through the lens. Hence, you will have only one kind of rays which are passing from the lens, and there will be only one focal point that is formed on the principal axis. Now this stops, so these are known as stops. So these stops are nothing but the circular aperture, so with the central opening just to allow the paraxial rays. So now the stops will not allow the marginal rays to pass through them, hence we'll get only the paraxial rays which pass through the lens and forms the image. So now if you see the two rays which are not passing through the lens, and hence they are not involving in the image formation, hence the image whichever formed here will be of less brightness. So this will be less bright in compared to when an image is formed due to all these four rays. So why this will be less bright? Because here you are eliminating two rays. So here basically you are decreasing the intensity of light. So if you decrease the intensity, the brightness of the image that is formed due to the conversion of the rays which are coming from infinity will be less. So this is when you eliminate the marginal rays. So this is elimination of marginal rays. And the next you have another ray. So you have the paraxial rays as well. So to eliminate paraxial rays, you again use the stops. So this is the wide aperture lens AB. So here is the center of the lens. The principal axis passes through the center of lens MM prime. So again you have 4 rays. P, Q, S, T. So these 4 rays are coming from infinity, and when these 4 rays falls on the thin convex lens, then all these 4 rays meet at a point and forms the image. Hence here we are using the wide aperture lens. So all these rays will not form an image at a single point. There will be 2 different points or 2 different focal points, and hence there will be the variation in the image formation. Now what we have to do, we have to eliminate S and T ray. Why we have to eliminate? So these 2 are the paraxial rays. So when these 2 paraxial rays falls on the convex lens and these 2 converge at a different point compared to these 2 rays, P and Q rays. So because of that there will not be the sharp image formed, or that forms the spherical aberration. So to eliminate these 2 paraxial rays, we again use the stops. So these 2 are the stops. So these stops will not allow the paraxial rays to pass through the lens. Now what will happen? These 2 rays will not pass through the lens. So the rays which will pass through the lens are the P and Q rays. So now let us extend these 2 rays, P ray and Q ray. So these 2 rays falls on the lens and gets refracted from the lens and falls at a point FM. So as I already said, FM is near to the lens surface, whereas FP is far from the lens surface. So if you draw the diagram for spherical aberration, so then you have to keep this in mind. FM will be near to the lens surface and FP will be far from the lens surface. So P and Q ray will meet at a point FM. So this FM is the focal point for the marginal rays. So again here the image will be formed due to the light rays P and Q, and this image will be less bright in compared to the actual image or the ideal image, because we are again eliminating the 2 rays which are passing through the lens. So if you eliminate the rays, then the brightness will decrease. So the number of rays you eliminate is directly proportional to the decrease in the intensity of the image formed. So if you allow so many rays to pass through the lens, the brightness of the image will be greater. So if you decrease, then brightness will be less. So this is what the brightness of the image. Now here you are allowing only the marginal rays to pass through the lens. So this image will be formed at FM. So here again you will not have the 2 different focal points on the principal axis. Thus you have decreased the spherical aberration. So this is the first method in minimizing the spherical aberration. So what is the first method? The spherical aberration is minimized by using stops as to allow either paraxial rays or the marginal rays, but this reduces the brightness of the image. So to eliminate marginal rays, you have used the stops, and to eliminate the paraxial rays, you have again used the stops. Thus, by this elimination process of eliminating any one kind of ray will reduce the spherical aberration. So this is the first method in minimizing the spherical aberration.